One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report and pace his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Man, oh man, we're starting off hot this morning, I can see. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. Let's get it. All right, we got a big one this morning. Listen, Virginia Chaos, thank you so much for coming in and dropping a 5-banger right off the top of the morning, my man. The very first donation of the morning. I very much appreciate that. Not only helping me, but 5 others in the Insane Wheels family, man. I can't thank you enough for your selfless support, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and get into what we're going to be discussing this morning. Trump speaks today. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get him speaking right here today, right now, you know what I mean, on the live stream, because I don't think he's even come out and started speaking yet. But nonetheless, if it comes up while we're live, of course, we'll bring it up. Then we, of course, are going to be talking a little bit about the Hanavirus alert. We're going to be discussing that as well as other global headlines. So let me go ahead and give you guys the chronological breakdown of what we're looking at this morning for the stories. We're looking at Tennessee House votes in favor of redistricting Memphis. And yes, it looks like basically all of Tennessee, after the new redistricting is being, you know, the proposals and all that stuff, it looks like now all of Tennessee, every single county basically is red now. Now that might be just something that a meme that I saw on Instagram / Facebook, whatever. But it does look a little crazy, and I knew that this was going to happen, especially in the South. It's going to be, affecting places like Tennessee, Mississippi, obviously, as you know, Louisiana. That's where it all kind of stemmed from. Georgia, all the South is definitely going to be seeing a bit of a difference there. Then we have, speaking of the South, over there in Mississippi, unfortunately, they had a tornado rip through a town over there in Mississippi, damaging hundreds of homes. Several tornadoes ripped through parts of Mississippi this week, damaging hundreds of homes and injuring more than a dozen people across several counties. As of Thursday afternoon, no deaths have been confirmed. Well, thank God for that. But still, that's miserable, man. And then, of course, we're going to be discussing Iran this morning. U.S. launches self-defense strikes on Iran after attacks on warships. And yes, that did happen. And believe it or not, I thought this was going to break the ceasefire agreement. But it, apparently to the Trump administration, they said, no, actually, we're just retaliating and we're still in a ceasefire. So it's not full-on scale war yet. And then we have Trump meets with Brazil's President Lula at the White House. And we have that video for you because it came out at like 10 o'clock last night. We were hoping to see that quite a bit yesterday. I mean, you guys saw that it was one of the titles I had letting everybody know that was happening, but it didn't happen until super late at night, at least where the reporting was, coming from. And then we have Trump says ceasefires in effect as U.S. and Iran trade strikes. Yes, we know that. That's the United States has taken the stance that it was retaliatory strikes, defensive, and then that's it. And then we're going to be discussing cyber attack hits Canva system used by several schools. Now, I think they say canvas here, but if it's Canva, I'm interested because I would imagine that a lot of students probably use it as well. I even use Canva every single day that you guys see. And it's probably not even Canva. They say Canvas on here, but nonetheless, if it is Canva, I use it every single day for my YouTube thumbnails. I create all the thumbnails that you guys see on there. So I definitely want to see if there's some sort of like cyber attack. I want to know about it. And it's especially because it's hitting our schools. President Trump warns Iran, quote, a lot of pain if deals fail. If the deal fails, I'm sorry. It says latest on U.S.-Iran tensions. Iran fired missiles and drones at the UAE, as we know. U.S. Navy ships attacked by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. And that did happen. There was like 3 missiles and some drones that came at them, and they shot them down. U.S. Central Command actually says that they were not hit at all. They were attacked, but they weren't hit. They struck them out of the air. So, and then it says President Trump threatens violent attack on Iran if no deal signed. Well, that's not surprising at all, by the way. Something very interesting. We have some, quote, UFO files released by War Department just as of 2 hours ago, actually. The War Department released the first batch of, quote, UFO files on Friday, which is today. Representative Anna Paulina Luna said, quote, the American people deserve transparency, accountability, and access to information regarding UAPs and disclosure that the government has kept hidden from the public for decades. Listen, I'm all about transparency and accountability. Absolutely. If it's actually happening, sure. Anyways, and then Marco Rubio takes some questions this morning, and he did from the small amount that I saw. I only caught a very small, maybe 4 minutes of it. It's from the sounds of it, it sounded pretty good, actually, the way that he's been handling the press. He took questions for like 20 minutes. So we're going to be discussing a lot of this morning. Real quick, we got Sterling Will gifting out we got 5 gifted memberships. I can't thank you guys enough for the amount of support, Sterling, VC. Thank you guys so much for helping out the channel the way that you guys do. And by the way, if you guys are getting a gifted membership right now, make sure you guys show up for members only. We have members only every Saturday morning. And also thank the people that are gifting them out, man. It's not only helping me, but you guys as well. So I very much appreciate that, man. All right, let's go ahead and pretty much get into the call to actions, and then we'll go right into the craziness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. As well as hitting that subscribe button, man. That's what we do Monday through Friday, and of course, members only on Saturday morning. Now, speaking of memberships, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves, as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming a member and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time Breaking News, as well as the campaign trail, man. The campaign trail, man, is coming up very quick. We only got 11 more days left until J.R. Bowling wins on May 19th, man. Anybody that's from my area district, if you guys are watching, make sure you guys vote for J.R. Bowling for District 4 for state Senate, for Alabama State Senate. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen somewhere, and check it out. You guys can send me whatever wherever platform you guys decide to, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And of course, I'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a super chat. So I very much appreciate you guys. We've got the email running, and we're always scanning. All right. Holy shit. Whoa. There's way more gifted memberships in here than I thought. Virginia Chaos comes in with another 5. Yo. What, dude? And then Sterling Will gifted out another 5. Yo, we got a gifted membership race over here. What? And then Virginia Chaos bringing out another 5. Yo, this is crazy. You guys are nuts. Thank you very much. You guys are legends. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 gifted memberships from between both of you guys right now. I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much, Virginia Chaos and Sterling Will, supporting the show, man. All right. Let's go ahead and try to show a little bit of love real quick before we get into it, because you guys got a lot of the donations coming in. Look, Sterling Will gifted out another 5. Yo, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Now that's 30 gifted memberships. That is like actually crazy.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Thank you very much, Brother Sterling, as well as VC. You guys are fucking legends, man. We got Robert as well as Cameron. Good morning to you. We got Shades as well as Dragon Classy. Appreciate you guys. Mark, good to see you, man. It's been a minute. Great to see you as well. We got Charles Adams over there on the Facebook side of things. Great to see you, by the way. We got Hardwire as well as Steve Easy. Absolutely. Let's see. We got Shades as well as GEG. We got Michael. We got Jimmy Mac as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you guys. All right. I'm trying to scroll as fast as possible, but you know how it goes, man. I'm trying. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring up the very first story here. We're going to be discussing Tennessee House votes in favor of redistricting Memphis. This is in regards to, of course, the new gerrymandering ruling that kind of came out from, well, I mean, it was from the Supreme Court regards to Louisiana and racial gerrymandering. Now we are going to see a change that's going to happen across the South, because that's where, there's more densely population of, African Americans, for instance. So anyways, let's go ahead and discuss this real quick.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Ryan Schmelz. We're going to head out to Tennessee.
I always got a question for him.
Why are you gay?
It's just a question. Don't get upset.
Where congressional or state Republicans in the legislature there are poised to essentially pass a new congressional map after that Supreme Court decision related to Louisiana is going to allow a number of states, particularly in the South, to redistrict. And it looks like that Republicans in the state of Tennessee are redrawing their map, which would essentially make the one blue seat that they have a lot more vulnerable to be flipped. So we've gotten some images out here that looks like absolute chaos right now. The feed is kind of been going in and out. It's been a little choppy here and there, but this.
Oh yeah, they're protesting over there.
Here, we'll pull up this tweet here from Fox 9 or Fox 9. Yeah, that's right.
Yo, Mark, my man, becoming a member. I can't thank you enough. That there's nothing better, in my opinion, than when you guys sign up and become a member. That there's nothing better, man. Thank you very much for that, Mark. It goes a long way, and hopefully you enjoy members only with us, man. It's always a great time. We try not to discuss. Well, actually, I make sure that I don't discuss any of this crazy shit during members only. I try to have a good time where we go through this Monday through Friday enough. So Saturday we try to have a good time.
Saying Tennessee Republicans are advancing a plan to redraw the state's congressional map, including splitting its only majority black district that is currently held by Steve Cohen, who represents the Memphis area. He is the only Democrat currently in the House of Representatives representing the state of Tennessee.
So the one blue representative is most likely going to be flipped over there in Tennessee. Steve Easy says, my old lady's school had a lockdown this AM for a shooting threat. It's insane seeing that at an elementary school. Wow. Oh my God. Shooting threat at an elementary school. It's one thing kind of, in high school, like you kind of expect a little bit, like that wouldn't be so shocking, but at an elementary school, bro, that's really rough.
See, he's considered to be pretty progressive.
Sorry to hear that,
lawmaker,
man.
And his district has for a long time been very safe as well. So we're taking a live look here. We'll see if we can listen in to see if we can hear anything of relevance. But let's just go ahead and we'll listen in, and if we have to pull out, we will.
Real quick before we listen to the audio there, where it's just going to be a whole bunch of people whining. We got Rob's neighbor coming out hot, by the way. Carrie, I can't thank you enough for the 5 gifted memberships as well, my man. Let's get it. You guys are on freaking fire this Friday, man. So thank you. Cash App, I'm so sorry, bro. Oh my fucking God. Yo, Virginia Chaos. I am beside myself. He says, get gas for the bike, which I unfortunately don't have a bike anymore, by the way. I hate to disappoint. When I went broke, I had to sell everything, and that was one of them, unfortunately. And beer on me, bro. $40. My man, thank you very much. $40 on the Cash App, man, and I get to have 100% of that shit. I'm absolutely putting some gas in the car, bro. Thank you very much, my man.
Yeah, it looks like that audio is not very good.
Terrible audio
right now. But we have this in from Asher
Texas?
Red.
Shout out.
He's a television reporter down there with the Fox MMR program, I should say. So he says this: I spoke with Tennessee Republican State Senator John Stevens before he walked to the state capitol building for a third day of the GOP redistricting effort. He is sponsoring the redistricting.
Yo, and then Sterling gives out another 5. Yo, this is insane, actually. you guys are breaking a record right now. Like, legitimately. I can't thank you guys enough. I'm beside myself, legitimately.
Bruh.
Like, I don't know how to handle that kind of love. I very much appreciate it, you guys.
Bill,
Thank you very
Stevens
much.
thinks Tennessee could have a new map by the end of the day. All caps there. The new map would cut through Memphis, diluting the Democratic city into 3 Republican districts. And you can see the map a little bit there on your screen. Might be hard to see for some of you, but there are kind of 3 seats right there. And Memphis is kind of the lower portion southwest in the state, kind of borders along with Mississippi. So you have a pretty red-ish northern Mississippi area that doesn't get included in the congressional map, but then you cut right into Memphis, and that's a pretty blue bastion for at least a couple of miles until you get outside the city limit. Then it gets into more red districts there. But for a long time, that has been one of the few, if not the only.
Good morning. We got Mr. Al Patterson in the building. Shout out to a legend right there, man.
Congressional districts that has been represented by a Democrat. There have been some more swingy districts, some bluer districts in Tennessee before, but then when you had the census and the redistricting in
Shades, they're specifically talking about the redistricting of Memphis and the whole thing with Tennessee here. That's what they're specifically talking about is Memphis.
20 that led to Tennessee becoming redder than it already was.
TVT, good morning.
Memphis and Steve Cohen's seat has been the only seat that has been a Democrat stronghold in the state of Tennessee for some time. We have this from Fox Nashville saying, breaking update, the Tennessee House has voted to redraw Shelby County, home to Memphis, into 3 Republican-controlled congressional districts. Moments after the vote, protesters erupted in outrage inside the chamber. And then that's where you see some of the video that you're seeing right now. See if you can pull it up here and see kind of what we're noticing. It's kind of a mess. They're in the press area right now.
It absolutely is, Charles. That's a fact.
Going off and trying to get a good situation.
I heard it's gotten a little bit better, though. I have heard that it has gotten a little bit better, though.
I'm seeing anything right now, so we'll go off of that. This from Karen Aguilar. This is what has happened so far on the 3rd day of the special session to turn the state's only blue district, the 9th district of Memphis, red. Bills to push, redraw.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about real gerrymandering? Go ahead and check out New England, for damn sure.
Tennessee congressional map forward are being heard by the House and Senate floor today at Fox Nashville. So what we're likely seeing now and how this is probably going to work, they've passed this out of the House.
We got Mr. Al Patterson that's also getting in the craziness this morning. Yo, you guys are legends out here. I almost don't know how to handle it. So I can't thank you guys enough for the support. VC, Mr. Al Patterson, as well as Sterling Wheel. Man, thank you guys so much for the selfless support, man.
We will then head to the state Senate, and I don't really know what the makeup of the Tennessee State Senate legislature is. I can tell you that in a lot of these states, when they've tried to do this redistricting effort, whether it's a red state or a blue seat, normally the Senate has been the biggest challenge for whatever party is trying to pass a new map. You saw it in Maryland, where the Senate leader there was kind of a thorn in Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland's side, when it came to...
Yo, Virginia chaos. Yo, I can't even get through a story because you guys are so fucking epic. This is awesome.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
You guys are fucking amazing, bro. Thank you very much, VC, for the other 5 gifted members. Dude, how many are you at? 5, 10, 15, 20? Just by yourself? Yo, that's insane.
Drawing a new map, even though both are Democrats. You've seen that in Indiana, where there were a number of state senators who stood kind of in the way of President Trump and Governor Mike Braun when it came to getting more Republican districts and redrawing the state map in Indiana. Those senators who opposed President Trump's effort got primaried and lost. A lot of them lost their election this week. So there's going to be a very different state legislature in the state of Indiana because of this pushback from within the Republican Party when it came to redistricting. We also have this.
Well, listen, when it comes down to the redistricting thing and the gerrymandering thing, listen, if both sides are going to play the game, both sides can't be mad when the game is played against them. I really don't understand that mentality. It's like, you can gerrymander, or we can gerrymander, but as soon as you guys get power, then you guys gerrymander to your side or your cities or your states or whatever the case is. It happens nonstop. So how can you be mad at this shit? I just don't understand. If you're going to use gerrymandering, how can you be mad when another side uses gerrymandering as well? It's never made sense to me.
Oh yeah, this is a tweet we already just read.
But I do understand why there are certain people that disagree with the Supreme Court ruling. That's a whole different thing. But it is what it is.
So, again, The new map in Tennessee has been passed out of the House. It is likely to go to the Senate today, and then it'll be signed by Governor Bill.
Oh, that's a good idea to do members only tomorrow, dude. No, I have not, Sterling, and I'm surprised that I haven't.
Bill Lee and Marsha Blackburn, the senator from Tennessee, who's been one of the more leading voices to get Tennessee to redraw the map. She's running for governor. She's the front runner to be the next governor of Tennessee. She's been pushing it. So here we go. Breaking from Fox Nashville. Tennessee House voted in favor of redistricting Memphis after a heated debate. And now we've got some heated protests going on where, based off what our reporters down there on the scene have said, essentially they passed this new map and all of a sudden all these protests started going into the hallways, and you had bullhorns and whatnot. And now it looks like the protest.
Jesus. We got 5150 as well. Good morning, kind sir.
Watching the House or Senate session on the television set right there. It looks like based off that shot, this looks like it's right outside the Senate chambers.
Really,
so
TVT.
Essentially, the Tennessee Senate's going to be in session now, and they will be the next ones who could finish, essentially, this redistricting effort.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the next story here. That was redistricting. Now we're going to go ahead and still stay in the South for this next story. Tornadoes ripped through Mississippi, damaged hundreds of homes. Several tornadoes ripped through parts of Mississippi this week, damaging hundreds of homes and injuring more than a dozen people across several counties. As of Thursday afternoon, which was yesterday, no deaths have been confirmed, which thank God for that, man. But it still doesn't take away, the pain of losing your home or having your whole home and all of your belongings destroyed.
And welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. We appreciate everyone continuing to join us. We're bringing you some of the day's biggest top stories and headlines. I'm your host, Mike Bates.
Rapid of chaos.
About some wicked, wild weather out in Mississippi. Fox Weather reporting a powerful tornado tore through a mobile home park in Mississippi late last night by sunrise. The full extent of the damage came into view. Piles of debris and widespread destruction captured in stunning drone footage. Very, very unfortunate for the people there in Mississippi. We want to continue to talk about this story, and let's go out live right now to Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell joining us in Mississippi with some of the destruction behind you here.
Oh, that's terrible, man.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, we bring you to both.
What's up, Doomerang? Shout out to you, by the way. Great to see you. And I'm sure you're absolutely correct, man. Tornado insurance is at a new premium. I can guarantee it, man.
Mississippi and southern Mississippi into a mobile home community called The Wash. This is where there were about 20 to 30 homes, and people were here. It was late at night. Some folks just getting home, some having dinner when this tornado struck around 8:00 p.m. The National Weather Service out of Jackson, Mississippi, also issued a tornado emergency, which is the highest level of a warning, noting they saw a large debris ball signature on radar and that it was lofting high into the atmosphere about 2 miles, just really signifying how strong the tornado was. So as you take a look around, I'm going to get out of the way so you can see most of the mobile homes here have been just completely demolished and leveled. And so at this point, people have just been sifting through. There are still families here doing.
Dude, that is an absolute fucking nightmare. I mean, be empathetic for a minute. Think if that was you, you know what I mean? Just seeing all your shit like this, every bit of your belongings, everything that you've worked hard for, that's what your result is. I mean, just what a just tons of misery there.
That just trying to find and save what they can. Some people asking for help to look around for important documents. I even see some folks have set aside medicine that they did find. It's things like that that are important, of course, for our well-being. Throughout the day of our reporting here, I've met many of the residents who wrote it out, emotional about what they went through last night, recounting where they hid, some of them in closets. Some of them did not even have time to react and hide as their trailers flip over. I'm
going to be, listen, don't be hiding in a trailer, especially. I mean, you might luck out being in a bathtub or something like that, but hiding in a trailer, you're almost better off not being in the trailer at all, to be real.
That one woman, and if we can, Mark, I'll get you to pan off and show the trailer in the far back corner of this mobile home community. It's actually flipped completely upside down. She said the trailer flipped a few times before it landed, and now she says they have some stitches. So I want to actually play some sound from one of the residents who was here as it happened. Take a listen.
it happened so fast. It's like it just got quiet and calm, and then the wind picked up, and then I was like, y'all, let's take cover, and we got under my bar.
What's up, Tiffany? Good morning. Great to see you, by the way. And she's saying that they took cover underneath their little bar over there in their trailer, you know. Poor people.
And I started to cover over them, and then it just started shaking, and then it started lifting us up, and then we just flipped. And
wow.
we flipped and ended up, nothing, thank God, nothing fell on us, but we ended up walking on the ceiling.
All right, and that was Kaylee Hubbard.
I'll answer this because I smoke generally, usually. I smoke 3 a day, usually. That's kind of like the average, right? I kind of stretch them out. I have a little bit, put it out, have a little bit, put it out throughout the day, you know. So I was running a little behind this morning, and I needed to roll some to get on the show. And I was only going to roll one because I was behind, but I was like, fuck it. I've already got it all out here. Let me just roll 3. But yeah, normally that's why I do 3 like
She
that.
told me they actually moved here a month ago, Mike, and unfortunately this is what they're going through. So thankfully they are here today to talk about their story. She said she had stitches. Her grandchild ended up getting stitches. Her daughter sprained her ankle, but it's just an amazing story to see what they went through, and we're able to walk out okay. Another thing, Mike, I'll mention the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves. He said 17 people were.
What's up, Bob? My man. Good morning up there in Canada. She said a number right there. 17 people. Let me hear.
Okay. Another thing, Mike, I'll mention the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves. He said 17 people were injured. The best news of this situation is no one was killed due to the damage of that large, or I should say strong, tornado. I also spoke with somebody from the National Weather Service as they were doing their damage assessments here, and he said it's most likely going to be an EF2 rated tornado, according to the damage that they're seeing. And he did mention there was one location where transmission towers were taken down, where that might be EF3 rated, or an EF3 rated tornado, according to that damage. Back to you.
Yeah, Brandy, you nailed it there with the, at least there was no deaths associated here. When you see some.
What's up, Yemen? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
There, people are very, very lucky. And I always think it's amazing to see, especially tornado victims, hurricane victims. You're thinking, okay, you're going to go to the scene. Maybe they don't want to talk to you. A lot of the times these victims do want to.
Hell yeah, tornadoes are racist. Look at where tornadoes really, really are. You know what I mean? I'm in Tornado Alley myself, right? The South is riddled with that, the Tornado Alley bullshit. Yeah, of course it's racist as shit.
Speak and tell their story about what happened.
Yeah, no, and it's, it can be half and half. It just depends. I will say, of course, there were a lot of people who just, this is overwhelming. So sometimes, of course, you don't want to be on camera. It's a very vulnerable moment. But yeah, some people, you do feel called to just share this story, and, in hopes that it also helps people who are watching, because you never know, it could also be you one day. I think none of us ever think.
That's exactly right, lady. You're 100% right. It's like, listen, that could easily be my fucking shit that gets totally wrecked. I'm in Tornado Alley too, man. Or like my family or my friends or whatever. Like, that's just a terrible situation, man. All right, let's go ahead and focus our attention onto, the strikes. The U.S. launches self-defense strikes on Iran after attacks on warships. And I do believe that the attacks were just attacking back what was the launching of those missiles. So I think they were just taking out the launcher, essentially. But let's go ahead and figure that out. Real quick, we got Cameron coming in hot, by the way, becoming a member. Thank you very much, kind sir. Great to have you a part of the IWF like that in the Breakfast Club. Thank you very much. My man. All right. Nothing makes me more stoked when you guys personally, sign up for memberships, man. It's epic. All right, let's go get into this.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. We are getting breaking news. We're hearing that there have been strikes with the U.S. and Iran. We're hearing that the U.S. has launched self-defense strikes.
Hey, Bob, what does that mean? What do you mean you're trying to fix my ad set? Oh, you're trying to fix your ad sets again. I'm in a loop. Man, that you have been dealing with that shit for a minute. What the fuck is going on? What is it? What's the actual issue? What is it telling you?
What they're saying. Washington Post with this breaking headline saying U.S. forces launching a new round of military strikes on Iran in response to attacks on American warships. No American vessels were hit, they say, and U.S. forces responded by striking Iranian military facilities. This is the statement that U.S. Central Command sent out moments ago. saying U.S. forces intercepted unprovoked Iranian attacks and responded with self-defense strikes as U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyers transited the Strait of Hormuz to the Gulf of Oman earlier today. Iranian
extra surprise. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Forces launched multiple missiles, drones, and small boats at 3 different destroyers. You see them all listed there.
What's up, DWD? Great to see you in the chat.
Truxton,
Good morning.
Rafael, Peralta, and the Mason. They were transiting international sea passage. No U.S. assets were struck. The U.S. military, CENTCOM, eliminated inbound threats and targeted Iranian military facilities responsible for attacking U.S. forces, including missile and drone launch sites.
Yeah, I'm going to have to help you with that a little bit, Bob. Make sure you get with me and message me on Instagram right after the show or something like that. Maybe I'll be able to get on and we'll figure it out together.
Command and control locations and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance nodes. CENTCOM does not seek escalation, but remains positioned.
Mr. Jack Talcott, my man, good morning. Blessings to you, kind sir. Great to see you in the chat this morning.
Positioned and ready to protect American forces, they say. Shortly after that was posted, President Trump posted this on social media, saying,
update,
3
here it is.
world-class American destroyers just transited very successfully out of the Strait of Hormuz under fire. There was no damage done to the 3 destroyers, but great damage done to the Iranian attackers. They were completely destroyed along with numerous small boats, which are being used to take the place of their fully decapitated Navy. These boats went to the bottom of the sea quickly and efficiently. Missiles were shot at our destroyers and were easily knocked down. Likewise, drones came and were incinerated while in the air. They dropped ever so beautifully down to the ocean, very much like a butterfly dropping to its gravel.
Shit.
To its grave, excuse me. A normal country would have allowed these destroyers to pass, but Iran is not a normal country. They are led by...
Yeah, he thought it was gravel because it's got an exclamation point and kind of does look like an L. But yeah, to its grave. That's brutal.
And if they had the chance to use a nuclear weapon, they would do it without question. But they'll never have that opportunity, and just like we knocked them out again today, we'll knock them out a lot harder and a lot more violently in the future if they don't get their deal signed fast. Our 3 destroyers, with their wonderful crews, will now rejoin our naval blockade, which is truly a wall of steel, the president said on social media moments ago.
All right, let's go and move on into yesterday we reported on the headline, the title, that Trump is going to be meeting with Brazil's President Lula at the White House. And unfortunately, it didn't happen until super late. So we weren't able to show you guys that, obviously, because it came out like 10 p.m. last night. And we started a show at 10 a.m. Anyways, we have that update for you guys here. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This came out about 10 o'clock last night. Mr. Al Patterson coming in, gifted out another 5 gifted memberships. We have so many gifted memberships today. It's actually unreal. Like, I'm beside myself. Thank you guys very much for the selfless support, sincerely. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll figure out what's happening over there at the White House.
Live look at the White House as well, where today the Brazilian president visited with President Trump at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, saying that 3 hours of talks with President Trump had helped to stabilize Brazil-U.S. relations, which lately have been strained by Trump's tariffs. Brazil is also the B in the BRICS alliance.
Yeah, of course it is.
Trump and Lula had been scheduled to take questions from reporters together in the Oval Office, but they did not appear for that. It made some of us wonder if something had gone awry. Time will tell if something did. Let's bring in national security analyst, retired Marine intelligence officer, and the host of the Strap podcast.
Nice.
Hal Kempfer. He's here with me. Hal, here's a video of Lula arriving to the White House. This was posted on his social media account. You and I don't talk about Brazil every day, but it's the largest economy in Latin America. It's a top 10 global economy by nominal GDP. Why is dialogue between the Western Hemisphere's 2 largest nations important?
Well, Austin, we have to be talking to Brazil. We can't.
Well, and also there's something Well,
nor Brazil. They're just this.
I was actually thinking India there for a second. I don't know why I did, but I think just because I saw a flag over there that, and for some reason I just correlate. I don't know. Anyways, listen, India supports the war efforts that's happening on the United States front. I'm not actually sure what the stance is with Brazil and their geopolitics and what we're doing and stuff like that. I'm not actually sure of their stance fully.
Gigantic nation, the largest nation in South America, but obviously one of the largest nations in the Western Hemisphere and certainly the world.
No kidding. I mean, Sao Paulo is the largest city underneath the equator, below the equator. And I didn't know that before I went to Brazil, before I went to Sao Paulo. I had no idea that there was that many people down there. I mean, it's a mega city. It's like 25 million people or 20 million people. It's unreal. Steve Easy gifting out a membership as well. My man, thank you very much for throwing in and showing a whole bunch of love, you guys. I'm very blessed with your guys' support.
That they are the B in BRICS because they are such a major power. And they have a very dynamic economy. They have tremendous natural resources. They have, of course, obviously a very large population. They also have a lot of problems that they share with other countries, and there's a reason why we'd like to work with them. A couple of organizations, criminal organizations that we've designated terrorist organizations. One of which is Red Command. The other is the Capital Command. Both of those are organizations that.
Hey man, no, listen, I'm blessed and honored with you guys just showing up. You know what I mean? So there's no obligations anywhere for anybody.
Certainly Lula would be a little concerned about that because he's seen what we've done with the cartels. And he says, the U.S. designates these criminal groups as terrorist groups, and he would be very concerned. And one of the things Lula's been very guarded about is protecting the sovereignty of Brazil. He does not want the U.S.
Last I heard, he was, I believe that was like 3 days ago or something like that, where he gave us an update. It sounded like he's doing fairly good. Easy Frank. I'm sure he's appreciative of asking.
You asking on that. You saw he was very resistant to what we were saying about Bolsonaro, about freeing Bolsonaro and trying to drop the charges and all these other things. And he says, look, we have a system, we have sovereignty, and we can deal with these things on our own. So obviously there's just a lot of reasons why we share things, but there's also a certain amount of distance. And I think this was a very positive event that took place today.
Yeah, Lula released a statement afterward. Again, we didn't hear from the two men on camera. They were planned.
No. Frank was just asking how he's doing, and the last update we've got from him was that he was going back and forth on the motorcycle and seeing Mountain Woman, and if he's been fairly good
to do that, but they didn't end up doing it. So we got statements after the fact. Lula said, quote, "We took an important step in consolidating the Brazil-United States relationship, and it is important that the United States regain an interest in things happening in Brazil."
That's interesting, Tiffany. I know that you guys do live around the Amish over there. She says can't stay long, have to take ice to the Amish up the road. That's fucking awesome.
President Trump also sent this Truth Social post out. "Just concluded my meeting with Lula, the very dynamic president of Brazil. We discussed many topics, including trade and specifically tariffs. The meeting went very well. Our representatives are scheduled to get together to discuss certain key elements. Additional meetings will be scheduled over the coming months as necessary." So they both sound positive, Hal. Do you find it suspect, though, that they were supposed to meet in front of the cameras in the Oval, but they didn't? There are plenty of things, as you allude to, that they don't see eye to eye on.
Real quick, I wanted to see this. The meeting went very well. I wanted to just state that. That's what Trump said. Our representatives are scheduled to get together to discuss certain key elements. Additional meetings will be scheduled over the coming months as necessary. So that's good. It doesn't sound like they really got heavy into anything regards to Iran or any of that stuff. They were just pretty much discussing trade, specifically tariffs. But he does say they discussed many topics, so maybe they did and he just left it out.
Plenty of things, as you allude to, that they don't see eye to eye on.
Well, I think it would have been very useful for everyone to see that, but Lula actually pushed back on that. And I think it was because he was a little concerned.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Mac. 4th of July is going to be insane here, bro. I mean, the first annual we did was awesome. But it's only going to get crazier and crazier, bro.
That the press, being what it is, would ask a lot of questions, which would force them into some very difficult situations. They wanted to create, obviously, the overall impression that this was positive, that we were seeing eye to eye, that we were making great progress. And what he didn't need was, some reporters shouting out questions, which go back to old divisions, asking about Bolsonaro or something like that. So I think that's why Lula, as I understand it, he was the one that actually requested that they not do a joint press conference.
Wow.
And frankly, if you look at how they've kind of, put out.
That's actually not really surprising, actually, to, come to our country and be forced to do a press conference, a joint press conference together, is a lot of pressure for both his country and the United States on a global stage. So it's not surprising that he's like, listen, I'll come down there, I'll hang out with you, I'll meet with you, we'll discuss different topics, but let's not do this whole out in the open thing.
Narrative of how the event went. Everything's positive in it, so I think that's what they wanted. They got the photo op with them shaking hands, meeting. But
that's great news, Bob, by the way.
They didn't do the press conference where things could have come up, which could have actually exacerbated some of the differences.
All right, let's go ahead and move on from this. We're going to get into the ceasefire discussions about it. Trump says ceasefire is still in effect as U.S. and Iran trade strikes. And let's go ahead and bring this up. And we're going to hear multiple, not just in this, but later on we have Marco Rubio this morning, right before we started the live stream. He had something to say this morning, and we'll clarify some things as well. Here we go.
Welcome back to Live now from
about the retaliatory strikes and
Fox,
stuff.
A live look at the White House this evening. We have some developments coming out of the Middle East. Israel has its own concerns as the U.S. and Iran are working towards.
Yes, sir, Bob. That's great. That's good news, man. I'm hoping you can get it figured out, obviously.
To end the war, there are fears that such an agreement might not be good for Israel. Fox News correspondent Ashley Webster explains.
As the U.S. and Iran try to strike a peace deal, there are concerns in Jerusalem tonight that whatever agreement is reached, Israel will be left with little advantage and potentially facing a stronger Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is dismissing reports that he was caught off guard by Washington's diplomatic moves toward Iran.
We are maintaining continuous contact with our friends in the United States. I speak with President Trump almost on a daily basis. My people and his people are in contact on a daily
I would assume that's true.
basis, including today. I will also speak with President Trump later tonight. There is full coordination between us, and there are no surprises.
Israel has been fighting a multi-front war since the October 7th
over there in southern Lebanon against Hezbollah. This is what they're showing.
Massacre in 2023. There are fears that a weak deal could allow Tehran to preserve strategic capabilities and breathing room to rebuild its economy. Another major Israeli concern is that sanctions relief or renewed trade for Tehran could allow money to be channeled back to Iran's terrorist proxies. Israel and Lebanon are set to hold a third round of talks next week, even though the existing ceasefire between the countries is seeing breaches on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's being breached nonstop.
And to the south, Israel.
He can't call it a ceasefire if only one side's attacking.
Media reports suggest that Israel is preparing to resume fighting in the Gaza Strip because of the impasse and Hamas's refusal to disarm. And Israel faces the same problem in Lebanon, where Hezbollah refuses to give up its weapons, and the Lebanese government is unwilling and unable to disarm that terror group. In Tel Aviv, Ashley Webster, Fox News.
And today we got this update from the U.S. military saying it intercepted attacks.
Yes, by the way, just like Naomi said right here, before she starts reading this whole statement from CENTCOM, Naomi, yes, absolutely. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. You guys don't have to love all the craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
From Iran on 3 Navy ships in the Strait of Hormuz, U.S. Central Command says they intercepted the unprovoked Iranian attacks and responded with self-defense strikes targeting Iranian military facilities. This is a post from CENTCOM saying U.S. forces intercepted unprovoked Iranian attacks, responded with self-defense strikes as U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyers transited the Strait of Hormuz to the Gulf of Oman on May 7th. Iranian forces launched multiple missiles, drones, and small boats at USS Truxtun, USS Rafael Peralta, and USS Mason transited the International Sea Passage. No U.S. assets were struck. So the U.S. military is saying there was no damage to those U.S. missiles as they intercepted attacks from Iran on 3 Navy ships in the Strait of Hormuz. We also have a post from President Trump on Truth Social talking about this. He says 3 world-class American destroyers.
I think, let me see. I'm just making sure. Yeah, we already reported this part. Let me go ahead. I was just making sure it wasn't another long Donald Trump post because he does post a lot, man. Let's see if we have any other posts here. It looks like there's something. If in any way this humanitarian process is interfered with, that interference will unfortunately have to be dealt with forcefully. What interference is that? Let me see.
Is domestic unrest from their own population.
They're not going to. January. He's just talking over the slides. We're not going to get an actual answer on that. My apologies. Looks like Trump says something at the very end. I'm not sure.
In Yemen.
Yeah. Okay. He's just talking over it. Okay. Whatever. We don't need to hear his analysis. All right. So let's bring our attention. Now on a national level here in the United States. It says cyber attack hits Canvas system used by several schools. It says a cyber attack on a widely used Canvas learning platform. Okay, so it's a whole learning platform. I thought it may have been Canva, but it wasn't. So it's an actual Canvas learning platform, has compromised data tied to thousands of school districts. Wow. And let's go ahead and figure out what's happening. I think this report's coming from Florida. Let's go ahead and figure it out.
Welcome back into
live. Used by Central Florida schools.
Live now from Fox. You are taking a live look there over Orlando, Florida, as a major security breach is hitting a popular school app across Central Florida and as well as across the world as well. Now, hackers targeted Canvas, potentially exposing student IDs and private messages at schools. We do have Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie on the story for us today. Amanda, what can you tell us?
Well, for those not familiar, Canvas is a widely used app in school systems to help manage assignments and grades. And because of this security cyber breach, there's potentially 8,000 schools affected both.
Morning, GG. Always appreciate you, brother.
Locally and nationwide. Now, with student IDs and private messages possibly exposed, districts are warning families.
Wow, that's a crazy number, Charles. I didn't think it was going to be that much. They estimated it affected over 200 million accounts worldwide, Mike. Wow.
To watch out for phishing scams. Orange County public school leaders were notified that
that's the app right there. That's the app right there. It's made by Instructure, and I guess you can find your school and connect with them through this thing.
Behind the widely used Canvas learning platform was targeted by an unauthorized third party. Colleges and schools use this system, like in Volusia County, Brevard County, and the University of South Florida. They all announced they have blocked the use of the Instructure system on their campuses. Orange County leaders say the breach happened just days ago on May 2nd. Internet security expert Robert Siciliano says this is a huge breach.
This particular breach looks like it's affecting as many as 8,000 different schools. Could be as many as
8,070
million people are affected by.
Whoa, that's wow.
Looks like it's affecting as many as 8,000 different schools. Could be as many as 270 million people are affected.
Could be up to 270 million people. Wow.
By this, what we all need to
do is
be on the lookout for emails coming from the schools and what the motivation of that email is. If they're asking you to click something, download something, or provide any sensitive information, simply don't.
Yep.
The hackers may have acquired sensitive user data. This includes names, email addresses, and student identification numbers. They also say that some.
And you know how many people still will open links, and how many people still will download a fucking file from a very. I mean, listen, man. All they have to do. This is what I advise. When you see the email come up, you can open the email theoretically. I still don't advise it. But if you actually are like getting duped by this, hit the email and it'll show you the actual email address that you're sending this back to. It'll show who's being sent, So anyways, it's crazy to me, but you're still going to have lots of people that get fucking scammed out of something because they click a link or they download something. It's like, stop doing that, guys.
Within the platform may have been accessed. As of now, OCPS district leaders say there is no evidence that passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, or any financial information were involved in the incident. In the meantime, the district is urging all families to be extremely cautious. If you receive an unexpected email, do not click any links as it could be a phishing attempt. Now, we will continue to track this investigation and bring you the latest updates. Reporting live in Orange County, Amanda McKenzie, back to you.
Man, that's fucked. That's a lame story, man. I hate to hear any type of big breach like that. Let's go ahead and see what Bloomberg is saying here.
This says universities across the U.S. reported widespread outages on Thursday after a cybersecurity incident affected the Canvas online learning platform used by colleges nationwide.
Wow, that's whoops, Fox News. My bad. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. President Trump warns Iran, quote, a lot of pain if deal fails. Now, this came out 3 hours ago, ladies and gentlemen. It says President Donald Trump says a ceasefire is still in place after the U.S. and Iran traded strikes. Quote, but this coming from Trump, the talks are going very well, but they have to understand if they don't get, if it doesn't get signed, sorry, they're going to have a lot of pain, said Trump. All right. So that's, par for the course with Trump on the, that kind of rhetoric. No one's surprised by any of that.
Take a look at your screen where you can see the latest information as that fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran was further tested today as Iran fired missiles and drones there once again at the United Arab Emirates. As of now, it sounds as though the UAE was able to intercept those missiles and drones, and there are no reports of any injuries or damage. The attack, though, came just hours after U.S. Central Command reports Iran fired at American forces in an unprovoked attack as U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers traveled the Strait of Hormuz heading to the Gulf of Oman. CENTCOM says Iran launched missiles, drones, and small boats with the U.S. intercepting and eventually eliminating the threats targeting Iranian missile and...
Hey, my man Kel from Canada. My man, good morning to you, by the way. Great to see you.
Launch sites, command center.
Happy Friday to everybody. Also, little side note, make sure you guys hit that like button. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it.
And a surveillance node. I want to pop this up on your screen right here. This is actually coming in from our friend Trey Yingst over at Fox News, as he says
over there in Israel.
Confirms Iranian forces fired on
Tel Aviv in particular.
U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The vessels were attacked with missiles, drones, and small boats, but no U.S. assets were struck.
I say that because he's in the region right now, and he's been doing a lot of the reporting over there for Fox from the Tel Aviv side.
What I want to do is talk much more about all of the
What's
latest
up, Wildcard? Good morning.
we have here. So let's bring in our friend Mark Chandler, Director of Intelligence Community Engagement at Coastal Carolina University and former Senior Defense.
What's up, Stephanie, as well? Good morning to you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying your Freaky Friday as well.
Intelligence official. Mark, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
You're welcome, Josh, and thanks for having me today.
And I wanted to start by kind of talking to you here about the latest information this morning. As I mentioned, Iran once again firing those missiles and drones over at the UAE, the United
Trump, it says the headline down here says Trump calls Iran strikes a love tap.
Arab Emirates. And this is at least the third day that they've done that. Just
hey, shout out to Uganda, by the way. Good morning to you. Well, actually to you, it's what, afternoon for you? Great to see you in the chat.
So wanted to kind of get your take on that and what that tells us and the potential impact there on the ceasefire.
Well, I think, first of all, the United States is saying the ceasefire is solidly still in place. You know, our strikes were defensive, but what you see Iran doing, especially with its attacks against the UAE, is they're not directly attacking the United States, except for yesterday, but they're going after our allies in the region and trying to get them to not support the United States. You saw that
exactly, very true.
That develop earlier this week.
And then there's the pressure of like, hey, we're getting attacked. Now you need to respond as the United States. You guys need to respond and handle that.
Between Saudi Arabia,
it does put a lot of pressure.
And Kuwait, but against the UAE, they've suffered the most drone and missile attacks since the start of the war. Now, Israel suffered the most damages from those attacks, but UAE suffered the most number of attacks in that. And they're really trying to get the UAE to stop supporting the United States. And it's kind of a weak point. You know, UAE is one of the more anti-Iranian countries in the region. They're all anti-Iranian, but the UAE has a special relationship with Israel and the United States that goes counter to what Iran. So this is a lot of messaging and trying to inflict some pain on them.
Where do things kind of stand when we take a closer look at the Strait of Hormuz, which this is coming in from marine traffic, and you can see the different icons there, the colors green and red, which indicate the different oil tankers.
That's very true. You know what? You're very right. It is Felony Friday, and it does deserve an embrace. Let's go ahead and just do it.
Beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. Absolutely, we're embraced.
As well as the cargo ships, it looks like there's a little more movement there.
There is some movement, Josh, but I still probably have to characterize this as a stalemate between the U.S. and Iran. While we can control freedom of navigation for our combat ships, and that's what we saw with the 3 destroyers, they're working through trying to ensure the straits remain open for maritime traffic and doing freedom of navigation. But we're heavily...
I'm going to have to check them out, Charles. I appreciate that.
As you saw from how we defeated the Iranian threat yesterday, we can easily take that out and destroy what we need to do. But the commercial ships, that's a different story. They don't have the defenses out there. So even though the United States is saying that we're going to open it, we had Project Freedom before it was suspended. We're considering starting that again. The commercial industry doesn't want to put their ships at risk. So you're seeing them very hesitant to do anything when you look at the damage to the ships or just the insurance cost, which is probably the biggest single factor in not letting those ships go through because...
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the ship owners aren't going to take the risk, especially when, let alone if the insurance companies are saying we're no longer going to, insure your cargo if you go through. Well, what kind of options do these ship owners have? They're kind of held hostage.
The Iranian threat.
Well, not
As
kind
far
of.
as what's going
They are, especially if they're in this region right now. Anyways, we got to move on. We got UFO files released by War Department this morning. The War Department released the first batch of UFO files on Friday, which is today. Representative Anna Paulina Luna said the American people deserve transparency, accountability, and access to information regarding UAPs and disclosure that the government has kept hidden from the public for decades. All right, let's go ahead and see if there's any substance to this. Let's check it out.
And I want to get you right back to some breaking news that we have been following over the last, I would say, 20 minutes or so, as this information has come in from the U.S. Department of War. Take a look. They say the Department of War announced the initial release of new, never-before-seen files on UAPs as part of the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters known as Pursue.
The answer is no. I'm Mr. Potato Head, Steve Easy. So, well, I guess Mr. Potato Head can be, an alien of some sort, I guess.
This interagency effort includes the White House, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Energy, the Department of War's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, of course, the FBI.
Shit, what's up, Trigger Warning? Great to see you in the chat, bro.
And
It's been a minute.
components of U.S. intelligence agencies. The collection will be housed on war.gov/UFO, and additional files will be released by the Department of War on a rolling basis. So essentially, what they're saying is that this is just the first batch of those files being released. More will be released in the future. We're working to find out a little bit more about the files that have been declassified so far. We're going to check out the website, read through them, and bring you any sort of information that sticks out there from those documents. Now, we're also hearing from Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She says the American people deserve transparency, accountability, and access to information regarding UAPs and disclosure that the government has kept hidden from the public for decades. This is a massive first step in the right direction. So again, the first batch of these UFO files, as they've been referred to, they were classified.
So that's great. So we don't get to see any of them? We'd have to actually go and check the files.
Now they have been declassified and put up.
All right. Well, I mean, one of these days, well, maybe tomorrow we can, well, no, tomorrow's members only. Shit. Maybe Monday. I don't know. If it's still in the media, we'll discuss it. But we'll bring up some UFO files, I guess. We're going to move on into this next story. Rubio takes questions from reporters amid Iran conflict. And this was this morning, right before we started the show. This came, well, not actually right before. It happened about an hour before the live stream. Anyways, I only got to catch about 4 or 5 minutes of this, and it was the very, very end. And it sounded fairly decent. Let's go ahead and figure out what's going on here.
Pope Leo. President Trump has had very harsh language and words for Pope against the backdrop of the war in Iran. Did you make amends with the Pope yesterday?
No, we had a very good meeting. I mean, ultimately, it's important. First of all, there's a lot that we work together with the church, and we talked about those areas that we're working together on, different parts of the world.
What's up, Jason?
Interested in, the other aspects of it, but I expressed, updated them on the situation with Iran, expressed our point of view about why this was important and the danger that Iran poses to the world, which is largely recognized. So obviously, the Holy Father is a spiritual leader.
Here, Jason, I got you, homie.
Oh shit! Oh shit! First and foremost, I mean that's his role to play, and obviously the church has always interacted on behalf of a mission for peace and a respect for all of humanity. But at the end, it's a very cordial and important meeting, and it's important to share our points of view and an explanation and an understanding of where we're coming from. And I thought it was very positive.
Secretary Rubio, you also mentioned talking about the Western Hemisphere with the Pope, and of course the Catholic Church is instrumental in delivering humanitarian aid to Cuba. I wondered if you discussed that and whether there was any disagreement on U.S. policy.
Well, there's an interesting thing about Cuba and their leadership over there about the humanitarian aid thing. Believe it or not, yes, I know that we have definitely waited as long as possible to give them humanitarian aid. But the small amount of aid that we try to give them from the United States government standpoint, they actually declined that humanitarian aid and did not allow any distribution of that aid. Their own government stopped them from taking the exact things they need and said, no, we don't want your shit because it's coming from you, kind of thing.
Towards Cuba?
Oh, we discussed, I mean, we've provided $6 million of humanitarian aid, U.S. humanitarian aid that was distributed by Caritas, the Catholic Church agency. We're prepared to do more. In fact, we've offered the regime there $100 million of humanitarian aid that unfortunately so far they have not agreed to distribute to help the people of Cuba. So we did.
They have not agreed to distribute to the people of Cuba, which is sad.
It was distributed by Caritas, the Catholic Church agency. We're prepared to do more. In fact, we've offered the regime there $100 million of humanitarian aid that unfortunately so far they have not agreed to distribute to help the people of Cuba. So we did the hurricane relief, but we're offering more. And it's the regime that's not accepting it. It's the regime that's standing in the way of it. So we discussed that, and we hope we can do it because we do want to help the people of Cuba who are being, hurt by this incompetent regime that's destroyed the country and the economy.
Secretary, can I ask about the meeting with the Pope? I mean, after this meeting with the Pope, which you described as cordial and productive, are you going to recommend to the president that he stops criticizing the Pope in social media?
Why would I tell you what I'm going to recommend to the president? But beyond that, the president will always speak clearly about how he feels about the U.S. and U.S. policy. The president of the United States is always going to act in what's in the best interest of the United States. I think we can do that and continue to also have a very productive and fruitful and important relationship with the church because it plays an important role in the world as well.
Secretary, let's talk about whether
I call her, I'm sorry.
Secretary Rubio, were there any themes from your conversation yesterday with Pope Leo that resonated with you personally?
Well, if it was personal, why would I tell you? No, here's the bottom line on that is that the church is an important global institution and has a presence all over the world. I know you guys are fixated on who said what about who at what time. I understand all that, okay? Because media, you guys have
because that's the media. Exactly. He just pointed that out. He's like, listen, I get who I'm talking to.
Headlines, you have editors, you have people that want you to post, and these are interesting stories. But at the end of the day, the Pope just returned from Africa. We're in a very important continent with growing Christian populations, many of whom are threatened or feel threatened by the spread of radical Islamic terrorism. So we care about that. The Pope and the church has an interest in Christian communities in Lebanon, a place that we're very involved in trying to establish a peace between Israel and Lebanon. The church obviously has a very important presence in Latin America. The bishops from Venezuela had just been here a few days earlier. So we shared thoughts about those sorts of things. I think it's an opportunity to personally express our point of view from the standpoint of foreign policy and the areas we're involved in and share insights, but also to gain insights because the church has a unique role in many of these countries in terms of the insights and information that they're receiving. In some cases in the past, the church has been an important interlocutor, not just with governments, but with societies. And then, of course, on the practical level, the church plays an important role in humanitarian efforts in different parts of the world, and in many places has served as a facilitator of U.S. humanitarian assistance, such as I highlighted a moment ago when it comes to Cuba. Yes, go ahead. I'll get to that.
Mr. Secretary, can you say in your meeting with Prime Minister
I totally relate to that, Jimmy Mack. I hate all types of shopping unless it's about firearms, motorcycles, cars, shit like that. But any other type of shopping, nah, I hate it, bro.
Maloney, whether you talked about the possibility of withdrawing U.S. troops from Italy as well as the possibility of the United States withdrawing from NATO altogether?
No, we didn't discuss any specifics like that, and that's a decision for the president to make. It's a decision every president.
What's up, Fidel? Great to see you in the chat, my man. Good morning. And by the way, Charles, if he does it again, just ban him.
Makes the fact of the matter, though, is, and I said, publicly. And I've
What's
said
up, brother?
repeatedly,
So loud.
I've been
Good
a strong
morning.
supporter of NATO throughout my career in the Senate and even now. And one of the advantages of being in NATO is that it allows us to have forces deployed in Europe and bases that allow us a logistical ability to project power in case of contingencies. Well, we had a contingency. And some countries in Europe, like Spain as an example, denied us the use of those bases for a very important contingency.
It was a different dude. All right. Well, yes. Relax on the TOS words in the chat, you guys.
That in some ways the denial
Otherwise,
of those
they'll
bases
just be
actually
banned.
impeded the mission, not severely, but had a cost, and in fact
Welcome back,
even
Naomi.
created some unnecessary dangers. So if one of the main reasons why the U.S. is in NATO is the ability to have forces deployed in Europe that we could project to other contingencies. And now that's no longer the case, at least when it comes to some NATO members. That's a problem, and it has to be examined. But ultimately, that's a decision for the president to make. His team and people like myself and others will provide him what those potential options are. But ultimately, he'll have to make that decision. He hasn't made those decisions yet. As far as recent news of deployments, like, for example, those were all already ongoing. For example, in Germany, the troops that were withdrawn, which represent less than 14% of our total troop presence there, that's already pre-programmed.
Be safe out there, Jimmy.
And in fact, all it did is take us back to where we were in 2022. So there was always a plan to do some shifting within NATO. As far as broader changes, that's I don't have an announcement for you on that today, but that's a decision for the president to make. Certainly, we'll present both options and perspectives, but I don't have anything new to announce on that today. Within NATO, as far as broader changes.
You guys see that little skip there? I don't know if that was a cut or if that was a lag. I don't know.
I don't have an announcement for you on that today, but that's a decision for the president to make. Certainly, we'll present both options and perspectives, but I don't have anything new to announce on that today.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, your former colleagues on the Hill, Republican senators, believe that troops withdrawal will embolden Putin and will benefit Russia. Do you agree with this?
Will do what? I'm sorry?
Troops withdrawal will embolden Putin and benefit Russia. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, in the end, the United States the president is going to always do what's in the national interest. We have global obligations all over the world. We have troop deployments all over the world, and those are constantly shifting and changing. For example, we increased troop presence in NATO in the aftermath of the invasion of Ukraine. So we're always making these decisions, and there were some already previewed before any of this had happened in terms of the base denials. But in the end, look, here the bottom line is we always, while we may be the most powerful country in the world and we may have the most resources, our resources are not unlimited. We have to always assign resources around the world, including military resources, on the basis of what serves the national interest. That's a decision the president has to make, especially within the context of recent developments by some countries within NATO and the stance they've taken towards the United States. But, no decision's been made on that yet. That's something the president's still working through.
Have you managed to bridge differences on Iran, both with Rome and with Vladimir?
Yeah, I think everybody agrees that Iran having a nuclear weapon is unacceptable. I don't know of anyone who thinks it's a good idea for Iran to have a nuclear weapon except the Ayatollah. So I think the question is, what do you do about it? And the president's actually trying to do something about it. And so, I don't know what I don't think there's any disagreement that they can't have a nuclear weapon. I think the question is, what do you do about it? And we've had every American president says, oh, they can't have a nuclear weapon. This is the first American president that's actually trying to do something concrete about it. I don't know who would disagree with that. It's an important thing that has to be confronted.
Can we give us official
update on the status of negotiations with Iran?
Well, we should know something today. We're expecting a response from them. We'll see what the response entails. The hope is it's something that it can put us into a serious process of negotiation. Obviously, we've seen the reporting overnight that Iran has established or trying to establish some agency that's going to control traffic in the Straits. That would be very problematic. That would actually be unacceptable. The normalizing of their controlling of international waterway is both illegal and it's just something that's unacceptable. And the world has to start asking itself, what is it willing to do if Iran tries to normalize a control of an international waterway? I think
that's a very, very good question there, Marco. Not going to lie.
Unacceptable.
Unbiased.
But we're expecting a response from them today at some point. We have not received that yet, as in the last hour, but perhaps that will come. Their system is still highly fractured and a bit dysfunctional as well. So that may be serving as an impediment. I hope it's a serious offer. I really do.
Can you confirm there's a resume of the talks between Israel and Lebanon next week? Do you expect?
We expect talks. I don't know if we've set the exact date yet, but we expect that there'll be additional talks. Look, it's one of the areas that I think we can work with Italy on. They can play a very productive role and a constructive role in providing resources to the Lebanese government. In the end, we all share the same goal. And by all, I mean including the Lebanese government and the Israeli government, that we want the relations between Israel and Lebanon, its legitimate government, to be very strong. The impediment to that is Hezbollah. Again, an Iranian agent, Hezbollah, who is victimizing not just Israelis, but Hezbollah is also victimizing Lebanon. The reason why Lebanon faces bombings, the reason why Lebanon faces violence is because of Hezbollah. It is Hezbollah that's imposing this on them. So I think we all share the same goal, which is a strong Lebanese government that doesn't have an armed Hezbollah operating within its national territory, imposing a threat to any of its neighbors. And to do that, we have to empower and equip the Lebanese government to be able to confront that threat. And I think Italy and other countries, but Italy in particular, can play an important role in not just helping equip the government, but in cutting off the illicit financing that supports, helping them to cut off the financing that supports Hezbollah and the danger they pose.
Is it possible to get a peace deal on Lebanon without
Hey, sometimes shit happens, cuh. It's all good. Appreciate you.
solving the conflict with Iran. How linked are those two conflicts right now?
I mean, Hezbollah is an Iranian agent, 100%. I mean, Hezbollah wouldn't exist without Iran support. So, but I think it's possible. I mean, Hezbollah's been both weakened, but still capable of inflicting damage and doing terroristic activities, as we've seen. So I think the way I would phrase it is, we're not going to negotiate with Iran over Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is a danger.
Yo, brother, so loud coming in hot. He realizes that we're in overtime. Yes, anything past an hour is overtime. So you guys know what that means. No tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Thank you very much. So loud. Gifting out a nice little 10 spot. Man, thank you very much for that. It goes a long way. Let's go.
Other than if they're willing to stop funding them and supporting them. I think our negotiations with the Lebanese, our roles with the Lebanese government. Lebanon should be governed by the Lebanese government. It should not have a terrorist group operating within its national territory that poses a threat both to its own people, including the Shia population, and to the government, and to Israel, and to its other neighbors. So that's what we're going to focus on.
Mr. Secretary, can we come back to Cuba a little bit? The United States, including yesterday, are ramping up sanctions against Cuba, the regime, and all that. With the exchange with the Pope, did you feel any convergence of views on that and on U.S. policy?
Let me clarify something for you. Our sanctions are against a company named Gaesa.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a holding company set up by generals in Cuba that has generated billions of dollars of revenue, none of which benefits the Cuban people. Not 1 cent of it benefits the Cuban people. You understand this, right? I don't know if you know this. There's the Cuban government, and they have a budget, and then there's this private company that has more money than the government does. None of the money in that company goes to build a single.
Yeah, the government of Cuba, I mean, they're broke.
Single road, a single bridge, provide a single grain of rice to a single Cuban, other than the people that are part
They're
of the
in
ISIS.
debt.
So that's what we're sanctioning.
I mean,
it's
so
a
are
company
we.
that basically is taking anything that makes money in Cuba,
Granted,
and illegally putting it into the pockets of a few regime insiders. So that's not sanctions on the Cuban people, because the Cuban people don't benefit from Gaesa. It's a sanction against this company that is stealing from the Cuban people to the benefit of a few. And we didn't discuss those sanctions yesterday, but we imposed them yesterday, and we're going to be doing more, by the way.
Sorry. Many people thought that yours was a mission impossible after the Trump's attacks, heavy attacks.
Which mission? I'm sorry.
The visit.
Mission impossible?
The mission, yes. What's your judgment at the end of the visit? Mission
We
accomplished?
work with the Vatican on a lot of things. Our relationship between, for example, our mission here in the Vatican, like I told you, I mean, we're working together on humanitarian issues. We're focused on other issues as well. The president's perspective is clear. He thinks that Iran is a threat, and it needs to be addressed. And that position remains unchanged. And I think we're capable of having that position and expressing that position clearly, and also working cooperatively, and as we have for centuries, as we have for decades, with the Vatican and with the Catholic Church, who has a global presence.
Did you explicitly ask the Pope to stop his criticism of the Iran war?
I'm not going to discuss what I talk about the Pope, but I'm not going to ask him. That's not the purpose of I told you guys before I even came here. And that is that we have a very strong relationship with the Vatican. We work with them on a lot of things around the world. This was a trip that had been planned even before all these things had happened. So why just as an example, why would I not want to hear the perspectives of the most important, in many cases, far-reaching, religious leader in the world, on his perspectives about what he saw on his trip to Africa, or what his bishops and others and agencies are hearing in the Western Hemisphere, or the plight of Christians.
Yes, let's get the likes up, man. We got to get those likes up. Very much appreciate that, Fidel. Make sure you guys double tap the screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Very much appreciate all of you guys.
In Africa, but also those in Lebanon, a place that, so of course we're going to engage with them on these things. That was the purpose of our meeting, and in that realm it was very, very productive, and it was a good meeting because we were able to talk about these different areas of the world where they have a presence, where they are engaged, and we are as well, and of course find opportunities to either continue cooperating where that already exists, like in Cuba, or expand our cooperation in other places where it makes sense.
Is it fair to expect a phone call between the president and the Pope anytime soon?
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
What's up, Baked? Good morning to you and TGIF, man. Good morning.
It could happen.
Mr. May I ask you about Iran, if possible? You declared that Operation Epic Fury was over. Now, given all these military actions that we're seeing on the ground, what does over mean militarily?
No. Operation Epic Fury was an offensive operation designed to destroy their missile launches, their Navy, their Air Force, and it achieved that, and their factories, and it achieved that. What you saw yesterday was U.S. destroyers moving through international waters being fired upon by the Iranians, and the U.S. responded defensively to protect itself. That's what you saw. I mean, that's...
You know what's funny, Jason, is no. The answer is no. We don't get that. We just get anytime that we get any kind of, you get the left that gets a little crazy, that's about as jihadi as it gets.
Separate and distinct from Operation Epic Fury. If you fire a drone or a missile at our destroyer, what are we supposed to do? Let it hit it? We have to respond to it. We have to knock down the missile, and we have to knock out whatever it is that launched that missile. The alternative is to let it sink one of our ships. That's crazy. So, of course...
Look it up with Poncho, my man. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Well, yes, but the point is, if there's not much seizing in the firing, because we've
Well, you should ask that of the Iranians. Don't ask me. We didn't fire. They fired on us. My point is, if you fired a U.S. Navy ship What are we supposed to do? Say, oh, there's a ceasefire. We're not going to shoot down your drone. That's a stupid question. That's a stupid position to take. Of course we fired back at them. They were shooting at us. That's what I would expect to do. Only stupid countries don't shoot back when you're shot at. And we're
Oh, shit.
stupid.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Let me hear that again.
Supposed to do say, oh, there's a ceasefire. We're not going to shoot down your drone. That's a stupid question. That's a stupid position to take. Of course we fired back at them. They were shooting at us. That's what I would expect to do. Only stupid countries don't shoot back when you're shot at. And we're not a stupid country.
Do you expect that there, or have you conveyed any red lines to Iran where, you know, if the ceasefire or whatever you call it, if they cross
the red
certain
line is clear. If they threaten Americans, they're going to get blown up. I mean, that's how much clearer can you be than that? If you are a missile launching guy, whatever they call that job, and you're sitting there,
Whatever
and
you
fire
call
a
that
missile at the
job.
United States, and we saw
Brother So Loud coming in with the 5 spot saying, hit the like on both sides. Why not? Yes, sir. Definitely hit that like button. I very much appreciate all of your guys' laborious work on hitting that like button. And it's for free, by the way. Thank you very much, Brother So Loud.
fired.
Let's
We're
get
gonna
it.
hit you. Of course we are. Who doesn't do that? Unless you want to get your ship sunk. I mean, we're not going to let our ships get sunk by the Iranians with their little, their drones that they're firing. They don't have a navy anymore, but they bring out these little Boston whaler fishing boats and they try to swarm you. We're going to blow those boats up if they're coming towards our boats. I don't know if that's a red line, but I hope they know it is by now. So if I were one of these Iranians on a fast boat and they tell you, hey, your mission is to go after a U.S. destroyer, you're probably not going to survive. I think that's a red line.
Can I also bring back the European reaction? When we talk to,
and I'm you have any questions? This guy's like a monopoly over here. And I don't
Yes, the president has expressed disappointment in support or lack thereof in Europe. Was there any discussion today in your meeting with Prime Minister Meloni or Foreign Minister Tahani about them providing escorts in the Strait of
No, we
Hormuz?
don't get to that level of specificity about what here's the bottom line, okay? Everybody says Iran is a threat. Everybody says that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Okay, but you got to do something about it. The president's trying to do something about it. And I don't understand why anybody would not be supportive of that. And he doesn't understand, and rightfully so, somebody would be supportive of that. But here's a more fundamental problem. Iran now claims that they have a right to control an international waterway. They claim that they have a right to control it. What is the world going to do about that? Is the world going to accept that Iran now controls an international waterway? Because if the world is prepared to accept that, then be ready. Because there's like 10 other countries that are going to start doing the same thing in their international waterways, or in international waterways near their countries. That's an unacceptable thing that they're trying to normalize. So if the answer is no, we don't think Iran should be able to control the Straits of Hormuz, then the next question is going to be for everyone, well, what are you going to do about it? What is the world prepared to do about it? And we're trying to do something about it diplomatically. We have a resolution at the United Nations that we're trying to move forward, in which the world and the UN will have an opportunity through the Security Council to vote and say, we are not going to allow them to mine the straits. We're not going to allow them to try to control the straits. And by the way, you have a bunch of humanitarian aid that's trapped inside the Persian Gulf and needs to be released and has not been able to move. We're going to give the world a chance to pronounce itself on it. And if Russia or China or some other country decide to veto it, then you know what the impediment is. But the fundamental...
And we also have 20,000 sailors around the world that are stuck, held hostage right there in the strait. And man, I feel terrible for those sailors. I can only imagine. I mean, these guys have nothing to do with any of that shit. They were sailing from all different parts of the world, different flagships from all across the world, and now unfortunately they're stuck out there. They've been stuck out there for how long now? You run out of food eventually, dude.
No question, every country, not Italy, every country needs to ask themselves is, are you going to normalize a country claiming to control an international waterway? Because if you normalize that, you've set a precedent that's going to get repeated in a dozen other places. And if the answer is no, we don't want to normalize it, then you better have something more than just strongly worded statements to back it up. And that's the point I've made in all of my visits, not just here. I didn't come to Italy just to make that point. I would say that to any country that complains about the straits, because that's what we potentially are facing unless we get a good deal from the Iranians, and we're waiting to hear that today.
Can I move to Taiwan, actually? Sorry to geographically go around the world. Parliament just approved a pretty big, massive defense bill today or last night. There was a little bit less than what the president of Taiwan was asking for, but nonetheless, it's a big bill, including money to buy U.S. arms. What is your reaction to that, if any, and specifically in the context of the trip you will be doing with the president next week in China?
Well, all I would say in context of the trip next week in Taiwan in specific is the United States, our policy remains unchanged. We don't want to see any forced or compelled change in the situation now. I think it would be destabilizing to the world.
Yeah, it would be fucked if it came down to them, fucking up Taiwan. Honestly, it would take us probably 10 years of infrastructure building to be able to get to the point where we could somewhat have some decent chips. You know what I mean?
Our position on that has been
computer chips.
We've heard obviously the Chinese position, but we've made our position on that
Processors,
clear as well.
Whatever.
And I imagine that will be discussed in the trip, but I don't think it'll be a feature of our trip, but it'll certainly be an item that's discussed. We think it's to the benefit of China, the United States, and the world writ large that there be stability in the straits there. And that continues to be our position. That's the one we'll continue to stand by and advocate for. All right, I have time for one more. We got to leave.
Ukraine before you go. You spoke with Lavrov recently, and they targeted kindergarten in Ukraine even after they advocated for ceasefire. Where does the negotiations stand?
Right now, the negotiations are. We've tried to play a mediator role in that.
What's up, Lyle? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well.
So far, it has not led to a fruitful outcome for a variety of reasons. We remain prepared to play that role if it can be productive. We don't want to waste our time and invest time and energy into an effort that's not moving forward. But if we see an opportunity to act as a mediator that brings both sides closer to a peace deal, we'd like to see it. Our position at the end of the day is that this war is a tragedy. Both sides are paying a very heavy price for it. Both economic and obviously at a human level. It's destructive. We're against it. And anytime you tell me about strikes and people, every time I hear about these things, it just reminds us of why this war needs to end. And while we're prepared to play whatever role we can to bring it to a peaceful diplomatic resolution, unfortunately, right now those efforts have stagnated, but we always stand ready if those circumstances change. Okay, guys. Yeah, and then I got to go, and I apologize.
One on Africa. I mean, the
He's trying to get out of there.
Last year to personally intervening to help try to end the war in Sudan. The Pope, in one of his addresses, called this one of the world's greatest tragedies. Did this come up at all in your discussions? Did you see any movement?
Well, we discussed Africa broadly, and of course, Sudan being an incredible tragedy. We've been heavily engaged through that Quad process. Obviously, Sudan has become in some way sort of a proxy engagement between multiple countries who are behind some of the elements that are fighting. There are other countries that are not directly involved but have allowed their national territories to be used as a way to ship weaponry. We recently had a pretty positive announcement for the first time on a statement of principles, but we have to give it some action. What we've really been focused on in Sudan is sort of establishing a humanitarian ceasefire that allows us to provide aid to people that are suffering tremendously there, but not doing so at the expense of a broader deal. So we do want the humanitarian ceasefire where we can identify a number of communities that are safe havens for the distribution of humanitarian aid for what is one of the world's worst humanitarian crises ever. But you can't do that unless you have the security to be able to provide the aid. But we don't want that to be the final outcome. In addition to the humanitarian corridors and the humanitarian sites, we need to bring this conflict to an end. And the way to bring this conflict to an end is for the countries and the parties who are supporting the fighting elements to force these elements toward a peace.
Yeah, but it's on 1.25 times speed. So I speed it up because we do a lot of information essentially in a very small amount of time.
Deal that ends this conflict. And as I said, we've been very involved in that Quad process, invested a lot of time in it, continue to be engaged on a daily basis, and in fact have people in our bureau in Africa, as well as our special envoy, Saad Boulos, involved almost daily on this topic. So, okay, guys, I got to run. I apologize.
Yeah, he gave him, gave him like 22 minutes of straight just answering questions. That's pretty good. Anyways, listen, thank you guys so much for showing so much love, support, and this Friday, you guys went absolutely insane with the donations. I'm sincerely beside myself on it, and I'm very honored that you guys appreciate me like that at that level, man. I'm very blessed to be able to do this Monday through Friday. And then, of course, listen, if you guys got a gift of membership today, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow morning. Every Saturday morning, we have members only at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern. So listen, make sure you guys, show up for that tomorrow. If you guys are not a member, unfortunately, I don't go live on Sundays. So that's our one day off. And then, of course, we come back on Monday morning for more of the world's madness. Anyways, God bless everyone. We'll see you guys here very soon, and be safe out there, and much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges.